been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
Mike is a friend of ours we haven't talked to in a while since, there's no baseball.
I miss you guys.
We
Miss you too, man.
Seriously, man, it's been fun. It's been fun, man. I'm just home working, thankfully. I could work from home, and I have a TV down in the man cave, so I just been catching up on NFL Live. Not too much MLB Network. For some reason, they're not really broadcasting anything, so I don't get any baseball action, but put on some Yes Network and just catch up on some old Yankees games, man.
Happy you're working, man. Definitely a blessing there in the skies.
Have you checked out The Last Dance?
I did. I didn't get to see the last two episodes, but I did catch the first two with the whole Scottie Pippen thing, and
shows you a really good side of the GOAT status of Michael Jordan.
It does, man. It does. Like, actually, my favorite basketball player ever is and forever will be Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson. And there's just some things that you just don't know until you watch these documentaries, and it was interesting to say the least, man. A lot of stuff that we just didn't know, and how Scottie Pippen, got no deal out of what he was doing, and it was just crazy, man.
And then I'm involved in youth with the high school kids at my church, and we were talking last night on a Zoom call. And, you have a couple of those kids you like, and they're like, I don't care about this, like LeBron's still the GOAT. And I was like, well, one thing out of this documentary you can say that Jordan did that LeBron never did is Jordan didn't have to leave his team to win a championship. He started off, that team was trash.
Oh yeah.
And he was with it through the ups and downs. LeBron left a couple times through different teams that were already stacked.
And you know what? Michael Jordan showed his heart. He broke his freaking foot. And the Bulls made the playoffs on that last game when he had to sit. And he was about winning. He didn't care what it looked like, how we got in. We wanted to get to the playoffs. We didn't worry about picks. And he was so determined to get in there.
He did not care.
And they screwed him basically by letting him play 7 minutes a half. And Paxson put in that winning shot, and they went in with a 30-win team.
Yeah. And I'm not saying LeBron wouldn't do good in that day and age. I'm not saying LeBron's a bad basketball player. I'm simply saying through this documentary, you truly see how Jordan turned into a coach. He made sure everybody on that team was here to win, if not leave the building. He had that attitude, and he would put 60 points up just by himself to help win for that team.
Dude, I can't add to that. That's spot on, man. That's the biggest difference is in that time, Jordan was such a leader, where LeBron, you can see even till this day, is he's so athletic, and he's obviously one of the most athletic basketball players of all time. But you can see when it mostly matters that the leadership lacks, and it's hard for him to win those clutch games, man. Where Jordan just pulled everyone together, and the heart was so crucial, man.
Let me ask you guys something, because I grew up in the Jordan era. You guys, you guys weren't even around yet, but you give me one person in the NBA today that
Wait a minute here. Hold on. What do you mean you guys weren't around? What is this?
Well, how old are you, babyface?
I'm 31, baby.
Okay. I mean, I'm
Dude,
I got 15
Jordan
years on you.
96, 97, 90. Oh, well, you're going back North Carolina days, but, man, I remember. Dude, I would never forget, man. And I was a little kid watching Toy Story, but I'll never forget that NBA championship. I think it was 98, where they said they called it the last shot.
Oh, then you remember all the Cowboys championships too.
Thanks, man. Come on, man.
Well, let me finish my question. But say, okay,
all right,
you're still, then you've seen both. Okay, but you name one basketball player today that plays in today's style of NBA basketball that can go back and play in that era where you had the bad boys of Detroit who basically said, you can't let Michael Jordan get off the ground. You got to put him on the floor. And you saw in the documentary, the fouls were hardly called back then, and you ended up on the floor. You got black eyes. You didn't drive in the paint.
I think there's a
Yeah.
I think there's a couple guys that have that mean attitude, but I feel like if I had to pick one guy,
LeBron couldn't handle it.
I think the first guy that came to my mind was like a Giannis, someone that just doesn't care. He puts his body on the line, like he straight like dunks over people. He doesn't care.
He does. I like that answer. I think we still haven't seen like full
Yeah.
Giannis though, in my opinion. I think the guy is going to be an MVP for years to come. But
You
I
know-
do like that
Yeah,
answer.
and
But
like,
wait,
and
wait,
like,
wait,
but
wait.
like someone like a Russell Westbrook or Kawhi, like someone that
No,
like doesn't like.
no, wait.
No, listen. I'm not talking about like skill set. I'm talking about like that mentality.
Just
Yeah.
like, that-
ruthless aggression.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
but look at the aggression today is easier. You have an open runway driving to the basket today, knowing damn straight if a defender puts his hands up, they're blowing a foul. But if he did that in the late 80s, early 90s, drove to the hole and somebody slams you to the floor like a Charles Barkley or a Rick Mahorn or a Charles Oakley, you are not driving to the hole. You're gonna think twice about it.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Correct?
I think that's why I picked Giannis, just because of his height and his power.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking, I don't know if you guys agree with this. And he's kind of scrawny, but he's so athletic and he's so big. I was thinking Kevin Durant. Just because of how
Kevin Durant would have been just a perimeter. He would have been
versatile he is.
He wouldn't have been a Scotty. I just think Kevin Durant's kind of soft too.
I don't know. I think that this is something that you would really have to evaluate someone's play and think not only about who could score in that time and day, but who could handle the drive. I mean, I feel like you could say everybody could, get a little rough and play.
I just think it was a different style of basketball back then. It was more like two-hand.
was.
It was like
Yeah, it
two-hand
definitely
touch football, and you got elbows to the face. And
Oh, well, in that documentary, they literally say you could literally punch someone and get in a fight and that they wouldn't throw you out.
my whole point is though, is if you watch basketball today, any of the big name stars that drive to the hole, they're guaranteed to get to the foul line.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Guaranteed.
such a different game, man. Everything's about shooting now, and I kind of blame Steph Curry, for kind of changing the game a little bit. Not that I hate the guy or hate his game. I just feel like, he kind of changed a lot of the game lately where it's just, pull up from the three-point line and shoot the basket and hope to make it. Where, now it's the whole game has just changed, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think if one person that I could really, and he kind of played in that era too, Kobe. Now, I'm not just saying it because he passed away.
I was
yeah.
going to say that.
Kobe,
I didn't know if
Kobe
that counts.
is one of the guys that he played with Jordan. He played against LeBron. Kobe is probably one of the guys that could handle that kind of basketball.
No
All right,
question.
You know who we could probably pick?
I didn't mention Kobe because he retired, but
Yeah.
no question Kobe.
We could probably say Vince Carter could handle that. Because he
was there.
Yeah, he was
in
there.
that era.
He was
Well,
basically
yeah.
there.
Let's face it, basketball back in the day was street ball in an arena. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you saw in the documentary with the Pistons. It was the Pistons, right?
Yeah, the
they
bad
literally
boys.
took Jordan out by hitting him.
Yeah, they said don't let him get off the ground because once he gets off the ground, that's where he beats you. And they slammed him to the floor every time he came down the hole.
That's crazy. That's just crazy to
Wild,
watch.
man.
I miss baseball. I miss sports in general, man. We need something. I mean, that draft was amazing. I mean, the draft had like 50 million views. It's the highest ever recorded in the NFL history.
I love the draft. Some people didn't like it, but I thought the draft was fun. It was great. It
Yeah,
kind
I
of
thought
lagged after a while, though, for some reason. But
I thought it went well. The only thing that I didn't like is when certain teams were on the clock, they would go to certain players that they would think were going to get picked, and then you would see them like on the phone, and it's like, oh, okay, well, now I know that team picked that guy already.
You know who? you know who came out smelling like a rose? The commissioner, Cadell. He looked amazing. Everyone's praising him for everything he did.
He's working for free right now, actually.
dude, I give him credit because towards the end of the draft, he looked like he was ready to pass out. So
Dude,
I give him credit for.
That had to be boring.
He
sitting in your
donated.
room all day.
He donated his
Right.
whole salary, $42 million, to either, I don't know what charity it was. I don't know if it was coronavirus or something, but he's donating his whole salary.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I couldn't believe it. No offense to him, but I never really liked Goodell, but that's pretty cool, man.
Why don't
Can't do
people
that.
like Goodell? Like, what is it? What is it? Like, I don't know if I missed something. Like, obviously, some of the rules they make are kind of stupid.
Yeah,
but, like,
I think it's over the years the punishments on certain players and not being like equally punishing when you're coming down hard on some of the players and just
Well,
letting certain things.
he was the judge and the jury. I mean, he did
Yeah.
he did everything.
I get it.
You hear that NFL might be playing games on Saturdays now if the college football is not back in time?
No, I didn't see that, man. That's on Bleacher Report, or where you
Yeah,
guys see
and
that?
I don't know how I feel about that. Just because, if you work Saturdays, like the thing with me is Sundays is I'm guaranteed off, and I feel like a lot of people are, and I feel like Sundays are a day where it's always been football. Saturdays, it's like, all right, Saturdays are usually days you're doing stuff. Saturdays are usually days where some people are working. It's like I just don't think the views will be as high then.
I don't like the Saturday idea.
I,
That's college. That's college day for me, man.
yeah,
That I don't like that at all.
Yeah, but let's face it. If nothing comes back, because they're talking about pushing college football into the spring. If nothing comes back and that's the only sport that's around, everyone's gonna watch it.
yeah, but I don't know. I just don't like the whole Saturday day.
Yeah, it's stupid. Look, if they can't get the season going, for example, NBA, they can't finish it off, or they can't get baseball. Just let these guys rest. Let them do what they do at home or their facilities, and just wait for the NFL season and college season to start and go from there. You know what I mean? I don't think they should postpone things, because then it gets funky, right? Like if you restart the NBA in June, and let's say they play until what, August, it's just things get like out of control and scrambled around.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Like
It's just funky.
hockey and NBA, their seasons would basically about be over by now.
Right.
They'd be
So
in the
it's
playoffs.
weird starting them off right now. Like,
Well-
it's just like, and even baseball, I don't want to push baseball to something that's gonna be.
Well, baseball
not
just
right.
came out and said they're gonna play a 100-game season. That's what they're shooting for, a 100-game season, and there's gonna be probably no DH.
Yeah.
It's gonna be you're gonna play in no American League or National League. It's gonna be set up by wherever you're at, and they're gonna have divisions.
And my thing, as much as I want baseball to come back, I don't want to rush this and then I don't know, the more players get sick. I mean, you're already talking about cutting half the minor leagues. Like I don't want people to get screwed and stuff.
Well, they're saying if baseball comes back with no fans, they're gonna lose more than 40% of the revenue.
Oh yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about the whole baseball coming back with the 3 divisions and stuff like that. I don't know, man. To me, it won't be the same. I like the 100-game limit. I don't think it should be anything less than that. I think if it's going to be less than 100, or it's going to be 90 games, at that point, just call it quits until next year. But
you know what?
I'm not a big fan of playing in Arizona, all of the games, 3 divisions, which it's kind of interesting, but it's like I feel like things are going to get stale.
And
You know what I mean? Like
it
these
sucks that
players
this
are.
happened to the Yankees because the Yankees were stacked this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was excited about this season with Garrett Cole and some
With-
of our
yeah.
guys coming back. I mean, it's kind of good though, because Stanton gets the rest, and Aaron
Hicks-
Judge
Hicks,
gets some time.
Judge,
Hicks,
Stanton.
It sucks for guys like Gardner. You don't know what's gonna happen after this.
yeah, that's true.
But they're
true,
talking about they want to play in their own cities. But the problem is
It's not going to happen.
yeah, Dr. Fauci came out and said if you can't guarantee the safety of the fans or the players, you can't open.
Yeah, no,
What if they
there's
just-
no way?
yeah, I don't
There's
know.
no way the Yanks are playing in New York right now. There's absolutely no way.
For basketball and hockey, I think what they should do is take the top 4 teams in the standings right now. For basketball, let's face it, Milwaukee and the Lakers were the best 2 teams. Take them 2, let them play a championship game.
That's not fair though.
Well, it
Yeah,
is what it
kinda
is.
fair.
That's not fair though.
Because-
that's stupid.
It's
Yeah,
it's not
I
stupid
agree.
because you
It's
don't.
like
it's
because
not,
imagine you were in second place. Oh, what about us? Like, what
But-
do you mean we couldn't have
but
won?
what are you gonna do? You can't if you can't open up every state. How are you gonna play? How are the Sixers gonna play?
You don't.
The Sixers
Well-
are in the worst area in the country right now.
You just
Well,
you-
the rumor last night was that they were thinking about having these guys play in Disney, like starting the playoffs and having them play in Disney World, because they have that ESPN center down there. So that would be something
yeah.
I think everyone would entertain, just
even,
because.
even if it was an outdoor
You know what
court
you
or
do?
something.
We talked about this before. Get 2 cruise liners, put a basketball court on it, and put 4 teams on each ship. They're quarantined. You put them out in the freaking ocean and let them play.
Is that like, would
I'm
that,
in.
would-
I'm
could,
in, man. Let's do it.
Could that like mess up the shots though? Like,
If they get caught in a wave,
Yeah, right.
like go down to the Gulf of Mexico or something. I don't know.
but what's like? I feel like if you're gonna start basketball, just end the season, just start playoffs, or shorten playoffs. Like
That would be ideal.
only like
Yeah.
half the playoff teams are starting instead of all of the playoff teams.
You know what?
something like that.
I'll tell you what. If I was the XFL, I would seriously consider giving this another shot. Because
Poor
you,
Vince.
I know, but you listen for a second, Mike. Seriously, they're talking about starting college in the spring, which means they'll be playing college.
Stupid.
They'll be playing college
Stupid.
football during the NFL draft.
No, absolutely
If
not.
you start the XFL up in the end of the summer again, and you get all these kids that are willing to skip school to come play in the XFL, you'll get big names to come. I mean, look at all the kids now that are the top recruits. There's 4 or 5 top recruits now in the college that are skipping college to go play in the G League because they're guaranteed $120,000+ a year.
Can't you actually pay to play in the G League? Isn't it?
Yeah, you're getting paid. That's why they're skipping.
No. You can't say like I wanted to play in the G League. Can't you pay to get in? I thought I heard that.
I don't know about that.
I've never heard of that.
I know teams pick you up. Like the Sixers have a G League team, but these top recruits now are starting to cut. They're going to cut out college. They're skipping it altogether because colleges are closed. They shut down March Madness. So these kids are saying, "Screw it. We're going to go instead of going to college, we're going to go to the G League, guaranteed salary, and then they'll go into the draft." I mean, look at all the guys that are going overseas that are going to be in the draft this year. That freaking kid, what the heck's his name? The one that his dad has the crazy sneaker.
They're not playing overseas anymore, though.
The younger one is.
Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball.
All 3 of them actually just signed with Jay-Z.
Yeah, but the younger one's still overseas playing. They're saying he's going to be in the top 3 in the draft. Yeah.
He's good. He's good. I think all 3 of them could play in the NBA.
But you tell me, if you get like a Trevor Lawrence, whatever his name is, and he says, you know what, I'm going to skip my last year at Clemson, I'm going to go play in the XFL for a season, you don't think their ratings are going to go through the roof if you get names like that?
Yeah, it will. Yeah, I think it will. I just think it just throws the entire sports world. It gets wacky. I just think just make it simple. You know, keep people safe. If don't you guys remember that one year? I think it was a couple years ago. The Baltimore Orioles played. I forget who they played at Camden Yards, and there was no fans, and the fans were watching outside of Camden Yards.
Oh yeah, that's when they had those riots going on.
Yeah, that's when they had the riots going on.
Yeah, you can do something like that. You know what I mean? But I don't think they should postpone or like start in the spring. That just gets goofy and wacky. And then how do you get things back to normal then?
I think it'd be cool
Like, you just
watching
don't.
baseball without fans.
But
It'd be
how
like,
crazy would that be though? If you
I get that and I love that. But I'm saying is like don't start baseball like from game 1 next month. I think if they're gonna start baseball, make it like 100-game season. Go right, maybe even restructure the postseason a little bit. But if you're going to take college football, for example, and have them play in the spring, that's dumb. To me, that's just stupid. Yeah,
and let's face it, if they don't open the colleges, you can't have college football.
Right, that's true. That's another thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe they can have some sort of like waiver for, and it sounds stupid, but some sort of waiver for the athletic teams. And
I mean, you think about it, the NFL teams can't have any workout programs right now because of the coronavirus, so it's kind of like the same thing as colleges.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know, they're talking about opening up basketball camps next week, but how fair is that to like I said, the Sixers? I mean, they're in like one of the hottest spots in the country. They can't open their camp.
I mean, you think about the Saints.
Absolutely
the Saints organization literally sent
nothing.
Sent a memo out to all their players and said,
"See you in July.
Work out at home because you're not working out with us. So get in the best shape you can right now."
They said on Amazon, "We're not doing any team activities at all. See you in July."
Yeah, man, that's fair. These guys have. I'm sure they have their own little facilities at home, so that's fair, man. Keep people safe.
Who's gonna really lose out on all of this for the whole coronavirus? It's gonna suck for people who are fighting for roster spots.
Yep.
The preseasons, baseball, spring training, all these guys because let's be real, they're gonna skip all that if they start these sports back up.
I totally agree. I think the bigger impacts are going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be Major League Baseball and college sports because you're talking about. Some guys that are in their last year of college baseball or college football, and they can't play that season now because COVID-19, and now their chances of possibly making it to the next level are hindered. So I think Major League Baseball and college is definitely going to suffer, man.
Well, they might get an extra year of eligibility for college, but who wants to go back for another year of college? You know what I mean?
Well, if you want what you want and you want to, make it to the major leagues or go to the NBA or whatever it is.
I mean, if I was only playing the sport and not doing classes, I would do it.
I'm all in. Yeah.
I think for football, like for pro football, what they should do is open the rosters up, allow more people on the rosters because you're going to have 6th and 7th round picks that are going to be have no shot.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about how big the football rosters are already and how many guys sit the bench. I mean, if you open that roster, that's even more guys just sitting the bench.
Yeah, but you know what? Or either that or open up your practice squad more where you can have more guys on a practice squad and at least get a chance to look at them in practices.
I think no matter what they decide to do with any sport, I think it's going to look weird until this whole thing just settles down.
I agree.
I tell you what,
I
my
agree.
my gut is there's gonna be no sports till 2021.
I'm fair. I'm good with that, man. It sucks. I hate it.
Yeah, I
It's
get it.
horrible and it's really weird to get used to, but just keep these people safe, man.
I just don't want to rush it and try and and my thing too is I don't want to change baseball and then like somehow they like it and then next baseball's completely changed. Just some
dude,
funky
that's
like these divisions. Like imagine they're like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Let's keep it like this.
But the cool thing about baseball is they can try out all the new things that they wanted to try out in the minors and in the international league and everything.
Yeah, true.
They can try out these. Do you want to try out that little electronic umpire? Try it out. You know. You want to mess around? You want to tinker things? You want to do away with the DH in the National League? Try it. See what happens.
Yeah. Maybe take away the shifting and maybe to tweak around the postseason. This would be a good time for it. So.
But could you imagine? Like they interviewed Joe Buck and a couple other of the commentators that were on the radio this morning, and they said, "Could you imagine a Game 7 of the NBA Finals and there's no crowd?"
I think it'd be cool.
I don't.
I think it'd be cool because you can hear the players and the coaches.
You get that game-winning shot. You get that game-winning shot, man, and the crowd goes nuts. It's a totally different time, especially in the baseballs. How much do we enjoy Yankee Stadium in October and November?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, dude, it's bananas, bro.
Yeah.
There's no place like home at that
Well, that's
point.
like I was thinking football next year. If there's no crowd for football, that's gonna be weird. You think about how big those crowds are.
Yeah, man. That's why I just postpone sports and just wait for 2021, man. That's probably going to be the best bet at this point.
Yeah, I just don't want to rush this and screw something up even more.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the Red Sox punishment, by the way?
That's
Crap.
Slap on the wrist. Nothing.
They hid that with the draft. The draft overshadowed it.
Dude, right? Tell me about it. Like it was legit slap on the wrist, and Cora got away with everything.
And my thing is, he was a part of the Astros, and then he brought it to Boston. So you think he would even get worse because he was part of the Astros who just got banned with their coaches.
Well, you know what sucks?
And then he's in Boston and wins a World Series.
Yeah, someone has to explain that.
Not even a first-round pick, only a second-round pick. Like, are you kidding me?
AJ Hinch and freaking Cora, they're not even going to lose a season because if we have no baseball this year, they already said everyone's suspensions will be lifted for the year after.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. First of all, how could you even be sitting out a suspension when you're not even established with a team? I think your suspension shouldn't start until another team picked you up.
Dude, I question Rob Manfred. I don't know how he's still the commissioner of baseball at this point.
And how did he come out and say that they didn't find anything with the Red Sox doing anything wrong? But they took a second round pick. If you found nothing wrong, why did you take their draft pick?
What did they use again? They were using like the iPads, weren't they?
No, they used they said it was the instant replay guy was doing it on his own. Croc.
Yeah, wasn't he the only one that got punishment out of the whole thing?
Yeah, he got fired. They suspended him for a year, and then the Red Sox let him go. He was the weakest guy in the link, and that he took the blunt of all of it.
It doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand it.
If that's the case, then the Mets ought to bring Beltran back as their freaking coach because he got off in Boston and he got off down there in whatchamacallit. I mean, with the Astros. You fired him for nothing.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then they claim they investigated the whole thing and thousands of emails and text messages. It's like, so what were you guys really investigating? Because there was no punishment done.
You know what the problem is? Boston didn't have any whistleblowers like Houston did.
I think that's really what it was, though. They weren't banging on trash cans.
The Friars came out and he turned them all in. No one up in Boston did it.
You see that they said before this quarantine happened that Yasiel Puig had a lot of offers, but he didn't take any of them yet. Mm-hmm. I was shocked about that.
Well,
I saw even the Yanks were kind of in the mix a little bit too for him.
I would happily pursue him.
You have how many outfielders that get hurt every year?
Right. That's the problem. And Encarnacion's gone, so you don't have that slugging anymore. And how much can we trust Clint Frazier? Have we seen the peak of Clint? Who knows, man? I like the kid, and I want him to be successful, and I want him to be a Yankee. But
he was having a great spring.
He was, man.
They're pushing back the Hall of Fame thing now too. Jeter agreed to it, said it was a good idea.
Don't remind me.
The only guy in the outfield for the Yankees that you can rely on is Gardner.
My favorite player.
Gardy party.
That's the only one that comes through every year, man.
I love Gardy. You know what's funny is I don't know if you guys saw that, but on Facebook, people were doing that thing where you name like your 5 favorite baseball players you looked up to throughout your years. And I so desperately wanted to put Brett Gardner But like I feel like that would just like it's not like a big name that people look up to. But for me personally,
He's Iron Man.
For me personally, when I
Yes.
played baseball, I looked up the people who ran out every single play and gave it them all. And Brett Gardner was one of those guys I loved watching.
Absolutely, man. And it's crazy, man, because it was between him and Didi, I believe it was, and they offered Gardy that contract and said bye to Didi, which
Well, I heard they
Still
didn't
hurts me a little bit.
even offer DD money because they were so focused on Garrett Cole.
yeah, but it's weird though, because I believe it was 1 year for 13 for Gardy and then 1 year for Didi, and they gave it to Gardy. And then the Phillies signed Didi. So it was like,
Yeah. And I don't know. It's like DD's
come
never
on.
given us anything to doubt him. You know, he's always been a
But
solid
the thing
shortstop for us.
The thing is you have enough people to fill that void at shortstop, where in the outfield you really don't. You had to sign Gardner because you had Judge who was hurt. You have Hicks who knows what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, and I guess
and then
you
you have
can-
Stanton who's hurt.
And I guess you can always say, you know, Didi's getting a little older. You know, maybe it's smart to let him go and let Glaber play.
Was Didi really the same after his injury?
But we really didn't get to see much after
we
his
didn't.
injury.
Yeah, that's the thing too. We didn't get to see much, and then
Yeah.
he started looking pretty good in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean that's really when he came
but-
back was the postseason. You see him hit a grand
Right.
slam.
Yeah, but he didn't have too many good hits. He hardly had any hits in the postseason.
Yeah,
he
but-
had a couple,
But
but
imagine you were out all the season. You come back, it's playoffs. You know, you're probably a little nervous because it's playoffs, and you haven't seen live pitching in a long time. It's going to take you a little bit to get hot.
But see, my thing is I would have sent him down to Florida. The rehab down there, you could see live pitching every day.
Yeah, yeah. I think they were kind of rushing him back a little bit because he did come back sooner than expected. So
Yeah.
that probably.
I think it's
Screw
good for the
things up.
Phillies. I mean, heck, they got freaking Joe Girardi, my favorite coach, Joe Girardi. I think that that's a suck for them right now. I thought they were going to have a good season.
Yeah, man. Joe Girardi and Didi, man. It's like, really? And they took Robbie from us too, David Robertson. And I don't even think Robertson played much in Philly, did he?
He struggled with Philly because he came to the Yankees and looked good again. Struggled with the White Sox a little bit, but he went to Philly and sucked it up.
Yeah, his ERA was inflamed down there, man.
Yeah, I could have sworn he got hurt though, or went down for like most of the year.
I think he did
might,
get
he
injured.
might have, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. You see that? You see that Andy Dalton got released today.
I did, man. I did, and I kind of saw it coming. As soon as they drafted the quarterback, I just figured they lost hope in Andy Dalton, which it sucks for him. I like Andy, man. He's really good in my opinion, and I just don't think they ever gave him
No.
enough weapons outside of AJ Green.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I don't think they ever had all of it to get that far. I don't think the coach was that good. I just don't think they ever put, like you said, put weapons around him.
yeah, he was in a bad situation all around, man. I mean, all he really had was what. Joe, what's his name? Joe Mixon or Nixon or
Yeah.
something like that, and AJ Green.
And
but-
he only had Mixon for like the last 3 years.
Yeah, and
AJ Green's been injured the past 2.
And Mixon's
Right.
he's threatening to sit out this year. He's threatening to hold out.
Well, he's had 1,100 yards each season. He's played well. My thing,
No,
with,
he's
my thing with Andy Dalton though is, and I saw this on Pat McAfee's podcast today, is great quarterback. He leads the franchise. You think about it, they've had some good quarterbacks. Carson Palmer, I think there's a Hall of Famer in there too. But he leads their franchise in passing yards, touchdowns, comebacks, fourth quarter drive, winning drives, and he's only like 32. I think the guy is a good quarterback. Just never had all the
They never
talent
put a
there.
package together for him. My question is who gets signed by New England first? Andy Dalton or Cam Newton?
I don't think Andy Dalton goes.
I
to
don't
the
think
Patriots.
either.
There's a new.
I don't think either.
There's a new source coming out saying he's going to go to Jacksonville.
That makes sense because he has his old coaching staff is down there. I
Yep,
think in Jacksonville.
his old coach. I think it's I don't want to say the wrong name, but what they're saying is Jaguars have been very quiet with signing a quarterback this offseason. All they have right now is Minshew Mania. They traded Nick Foles, so nobody really to back him up right now. So they're thinking the Jacksonville all along knew if Cincinnati doesn't trade out of that first pick, they're taking a quarterback and they're going to cut Andy Dalton.
And if I'm not wrong, I think the Jacksonville they went almost all defense in the draft.
Yep.
They did, yeah, most of it.
They restacked up on that. I think
Did
they
they?
lost a lot. They
lost
they
that
don't need. They don't
Marquez
need.
Lee, whatever his name is.
They don't need offensive help. They have a really good wide receiver duo, and they still have Fournette. So you think about it, they lost a lot of their defense that they traded away, and they signed a lot of young stars with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jacksonville's a good fit for him. I don't see New England signing either of them. To be honest with you, I think New England, for some reason, I feel like Belichick wants to prove something that he can do it without Brady, and he can do it with that. What's his name? Statham or something like that.
Statham.
Something like that, yeah.
Statham. I think he wants to show that he has his next Tom Brady, and I don't think he'll sign either of them. As crazy as it sounds, but Belichick is just different. He's a different animal, man.
I think you'll see in the next 3 to 4 days Dalton get signed. I don't know where Cam's gonna go. I truly don't.
Me neither, man. That one's been a head scratcher. I honestly, I wouldn't doubt if he sits out until there's an injury.
Because you think the Chargers, everyone thought Tom Brady was going to the Chargers, and then they come out and say Tyrod's our guy, and they draft a guy also. So I don't think Cam's going there. And so
It's going to be a backup role no matter where he goes.
I think Jameis has been the smartest one. Jameis signed a 1-year, $1.1 million. He's the 56th highest paid quarterback right now after being a first-round pick.
Dude, and he's got his 2020 vision back too now.
They said he can read car signs, he can read all kinds of signs. You think about who he has in front of him right now. He gets to learn from Taysom Hill, who's not obviously not that great, but he's great. You got Drew Brees, you got Sean Payton, you got Lombardi in there. You have a whole good system in there for him to learn. I don't think Drew Brees comes back year 2. I think he has one more year left. And if the Saints were smart,
I agree.
They would let Winston come back so that way you can keep Taysom as the utility guy. Let him play receiver, tight end, kick return, anything he wants to do because he's wild out there.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, depending on how they finish the season, which I don't think they're not going to finish in a bad spot. But, yeah, that makes sense.
And let's face it, Sean Payton loves his high-flying offense. You know, Winston had a 5,000 passing yard season. He's the 6th quarterback to do it in history.
Well, they said his stats over the last 5 years are equivalent to Drew Brees.
When Drew Brees came from San Diego,
he's got better.
No way.
No.
Listen.
When Drew Brees came from San Diego to the Saints, that's what they're comparing it to.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait.
This
Hold
is
on. The guy thhas 50 touchdowns and 50 interceptions?
So they're saying it's like a similar situation.
the stats I have. It says Jameis Winston in the last 5 years has a better passer rating than Drew Brees. The same T to interception ratio as Drew Brees. He's a full yard better in attempts than Drew Brees. And what the heck's the rest of it?
Oh, he does have Godwin and Mike Evans.
He's got a 62% completion rating compared to Drew Brees' 61%.
Listen, I wasn't a big Jameis Winston fan just because he was in the division, and I've seen him do some stuff that kind of annoyed me, but I'm completely happy with this signing because Jameis Winston is now the number 1 backup right now in my mind.
Yeah, my whole question with this Jameis thing, he was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
How did they not know he was legally blind?
He's been squinting like that since Florida State.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he couldn't even read the scoreboard. He couldn't see the game clock. He couldn't see anything.
They said sometimes that he couldn't even see the coach's signs, that he would have to run over to the sideline and look over there real quick.
Why didn't they test his eyes at the combine?
My thing is, you have a guy that throws 30 touchdowns and 5,000 passing yards with terrible eye vision. So either he could be even better with his new eyes, or it's just going to be 10 times worse.
That's interesting.
Yo, what about your Eagles, man?
Hey, man, the Jalen Hurts thing was kind of surprising. I'll be honest with you on that. I wasn't
really
expecting. Yeah, well, I just feel like I don't know if they did it under the circumstances that they think that Wentz won't be durable moving forward, but then you paid Wentz over $100 million a year ago, so I don't think there's a proper explanation to signing him. I think the only thing that makes sense for Jalen Hurts is that in case Wentz goes down, then you have Hurts. But Hurts to me is a starting quarterback, in my opinion. I don't know how he stays a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I don't either. My thing is,
it does.
When I look at that draft, I think they're looking for playmakers, but I'm also thinking Wentz has been hurt almost every year, so maybe it's smart to take a quarterback here.
Yeah.
At the same time. But my thing was, like, the first pick they take a receiver that not a lot of Eagles fans knew of. I think that receiver is good. I just think so many Eagles fans didn't want him because they had so many.
Rieger's fast.
Rieger's fast.
And he had a bad quarterback in college, and he still put up pretty good stats.
I have these stats from Brian Bolger today was talking about Jalen Rieger. He played with 6 different quarterbacks in 2 years at TCU.
Yeah.
Only 61% of his targets that he was thrown at were catchable. You know, the guy has, 4.27 speed?
Yeah, they're comparing him to Tyreek Hill.
I mean, he's
hurt, too. He ran that combine hurt, apparently.
Yeah.
I think that was a good pick. I just think so many Eagles fans were like, the guy from LSU's right there, take him. There's a bunch of guys that are right there, and then the Eagles shock everybody and take someone that nobody knew of. And then you take.
I totally thought they were
Yeah.
going Jefferson.
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
thought it was Jefferson. Get some size because you don't know what Alshon.
Yeah.
Who knows if Alshon's going to be an Eagle?
Yeah,
And
and then they
you get
take
some
and then they
height back,
take
but-
Jalen, who I think shocked the Eagles even more because you do need linebacker and still more receiver help. But I think that
There
could
was
be
a lot of guys available too at that pick for the Eagles to pick up.
Yeah. My thing is though, if the Eagles did want a quarterback just in case Wentz gets hurt again, I don't think Hurts would have stayed very long.
I don't think so neither. I'm actually surprised he lasted that long.
Yeah. And,
In my opinion.
And if Wentz does stay healthy, you can try and pull a Taysom Hill type of move here. You know, Wentz can run and he can still throw, so you can put him out there, and then the defense is like, okay, he's either going to run or throw here, and put him on their toes.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the question. I think that could work. My only thing is, how long is he going to want to stay a backup quarterback at that point? You know what I mean? It's just that. I don't know, man. I don't think he would want to stay a backup for so long. But
Yeah, I talked about that before the draft. Is I don't know why he was so underrated compared to some of the guys that went ahead of him. I mean, he had over 30 touchdowns and over like 3,500 passing yards. It's like, how does a guy like that get overlooked?
yeah, I agree. I don't know how he lasted so long, but I mean, we'll see, man. I don't think they're fully confident in Wentz to be fully healthy, and Suffolk obviously was injured too and didn't play, and so we'll see what happens with that. But it was obvious the Eagles wanted speed, and that's what they got.
Yeah, I like Miami's draft. I thought Miami had a really good draft. You know,
Killed
they
it.
they
man.
honestly did, and they were smart with the way they traded their picks too. You know, they got a lot. They got the offensive line help that they needed because they traded some of their good offensive linemen away. They got the defensive help they needed and the receiving help. And you think about the offseason moves they got a lot of key players, and you draft your future franchise quarterback. And I think Fitzpatrick plays that season. I don't think Tua is going to start. Fitzpatrick isn't a bad quarterback, I don't think, at all.
No, I like Fitzpatrick. Actually, it's going to be interesting now that the Patriots might not be the same New England team, and the Dolphins are kind of stacking up. So it's going to be fun to see
Yeah, you could see
how they stack up in that
you
division.
could possibly see Miami hit that wild card this year.
Oh, I totally agree.
Well,
With
especially
their
since
draft,
they-
it was great.
Especially since they expanded the playoffs now.
Yeah, how about the
Dude,
Bills?
what about Baltimore, man?
Yo, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Minnesota, man, they're stacked.
Why? What happened with Baltimore?
Dude, I think they drafted every player in the draft. They had so many picks.
How about you see Buffalo took a quarterback too. Is that like a little bit of shot at Josh Allen?
Dude, Baltimore got Patrick Queen, man.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. Why not? I would have done the same thing. See how Josh Allen reacts to that.
That's interesting. I don't know. I think the Bills are good, and they picked up some defensive help this offseason.
But they're saying Fromm's going to be the starter there in 2 years.
I like Fromm. I want it from as the backup for Breeze.
So
Yeah.
I guess they are telling Josh Allen that.
But it's like Josh Allen
But
hasn't
he
played
played
bad.
well.
Yeah, he
that's what I'm saying.
took the first year obviously wasn't great. He was dealing with some injuries, and then he takes them to the playoffs last year.
Dude, yeah, man. Those are good last year.
I'm interested to see what happens with the Colts. You know,
Yeah,
the Colts,
that's right.
the
Phillip
Colts are
Rivers.
loaded.
It's like
And
who's
they-
gonna be quarterback?
They have
too?
a great running back. I mean, how many running backs they have there? Like 3? They got that kid from Wisconsin
Three.
now. They're loaded. You know, they have
Was
good
that
tight
Swift,
ends.
Swift, and they got Mac.
They got great tight ends. They got a great offensive line. The defense is pretty damn good.
Who will be quarterback though?
The guy from San Diego, Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, it has to be Phillip Rivers.
Oh,
Has to
that's
be Phillip.
right.
Yeah, dude, they're loaded.
I forgot about that.
Let's face it, they're gonna win that division. Who's gonna challenge them in that division? Houston's a mess.
I saw a funny meme that it was like, even though you surrounded Phillip Rivers with all this talent, he'll still somehow find a way to overthrow all of them.
So true.
No, Hilton's a speedster down the sideline, man.
I don't know. T.Y. Hilton, I feel like every year he's getting quieter and quieter though.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's been in the league forever, but it's good for them, man. The Colts needed that. They've had so much bad luck with Andrew Luck, and I wasn't trying to rhyme there, but you know what I mean. It's like this guy hasn't been able to stay healthy and retires, and then they went to what's the backup? The African American guy. What
Oh, the
heck is his name?
Brissett, Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad.
Not.
He wasn't bad.
Yeah.
He's not an elite quarterback, obviously, but I don't think he's a bad, especially for a backup.
He came from New England.
Yeah. I
I just don't think he fit that system, man.
I was trying to do some research on Trubisky today. Obviously, there's a big, competition there. My thing is,
Dude, I've always said Mitch Trubisky was overrated, man.
no. Okay, so this is my case here. This is my case. I think if you take Trubisky and put him on any other team, he's a good quarterback. I think the fact that the Bears fans are so mad that they skipped on so many good quarterbacks, it's put such a bad taste in the word Mitchell Trubisky. You think about it, he hasn't been that bad of a quarterback. He takes his team to the playoffs.
Let's face
They miss it by
Let's
a
face
field
it.
goal.
The year they went to the playoffs, their defense carried them.
No,
Yeah,
he played well that year.
absolutely.
He played well that year.
The defense carried them. Schedule helped out.
I don't know. I personally, I don't think Trubisky is a bad quarterback. I think that, you think about the guy's situation. Every time you turn on the media, every time you talk to a Bears fan, they're always like, we should have drafted Mahomes. We should have done this. Like, there's so much doubt on the guy. Like, you got to think.
He's not that good of a quarterback.
I agree.
Just go to his stats, man. He's got it. He's had a great defense. And even with that, he hasn't been able to find his targets when it mainly matters, man. He throws a lot of interceptions. And he's inaccurate, man. He's a good quarterback at best. But
let's face it, too. The Bears put all their money in their defense. There's no real good weapons for him down there. Really.
You know what? This might sound crazy, but I know that they got Nick Foles, but I would say throw Cam Newton out there, man. Shake things up a little bit.
That's who originally
Why
that I
not?
thought was going to go there.
Yeah, throw him out there and see if who wins that battle.
I thought Newton with some of those speed guys they got out there and that solid defense. Like, I thought that would be the best fit for him.
Or you guys might laugh at this, even Cleveland.
I ain't gonna laugh at it.
I'm not laughing at
It's
that.
a business.
Think about it.
You know
is Baker Mayfield going to be your quarterback?
You know what I would do? You bring that Red Rocket down to Dallas. Put some pressure. Put some pressure under Dak Prescott's
On Dak
ass.
Prescott.
Yeah.
You know what, man? When are you guys going to pay this guy?
No, it's not when are they
no,
going to pay. It's when
dude.
is he going to accept
Mike,
it.
they offered him $35 million a year for 5 years, 109 guaranteed. He said no. He wants a 4-year
I know,
deal.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
I don't see that, man.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good quarterback.
Dude,
I don't see anything over 35, man. I just don't see it.
And my thing is, I feel bad for him. He lost his brother. No disrespect
No.
to him or saying. My thing
Yeah,
is,
that's rough.
my
man.
thing is, Dallas kept offering him contracts, and he kept changing them. Dallas now is offering him to be the highest paid NFL player right now, which he doesn't deserve. I think Dak is a good quarterback.
I
do
agree.
not.
He's not the best
He's not
quarterback
the
in the
best
league.
yet. Could he possibly be the best one day? I don't know.
Well, let me tell you what.
Maybe.
Let me tell you what,
Maybe.
though. He has fantastic management. I tell you what, because you think about it. If he signs that franchise tag this year, he's going to get $31 million, okay? If he doesn't sign next year, say that the Cowboys still don't get him a deal, they franchise tag him again next year, that franchise tag goes up to $39 million. Guess where his starting rate's going to be next year? If you start negotiating again with the Cowboys next year after not signing this year, you're going to have to come in at $39 million. That's going to be starting offer.
That's insane.
Yeah.
There's no way.
That's why you bring in the Red Rocket, you pay him $4 or $5 million as a backup, and say, "Here, you have all these weapons. Let's see what you can do."
And say to Dak, if you don't sign this, Dalton's our guy.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Cowboys' real problem is their defense. I mean, they've always had a great line. They have Zeke. They brought in Amari Cooper. You still have what's his name, Gallup.
Yep,
Right?
but their defense is pretty
Defense
good now.
was ranked
though.
8th in the league last year.
I mean, I don't know, man. And he's a good Dallas guy. He doesn't get into any trouble. Talking about Dak Prescott.
Hold on, I got a couple more straws for you to grab at.
Yeah.
My thing though is with Dak, like you would think, like with especially how well this draft went, why would you not just say, okay, let's sign this deal? There's so much talent on that team right now that I would be so excited to be a part of that team, especially for a lock-in 5 years, and you're getting $35 million a year. Why not?
You know what? You know what aggravates me about Dallas? We showcase people for a season, and they go get big deals of other places. I mean, Quinn came in, had what, 12 sacks?
Byron Jones,
He left. Boom. Yeah, Byron Jones. They want to sign him. Boom. Left.
Randall Cobb,
You know,
gone.
and they're gonna do the same thing with Alden Smith this year. You watch.
Randall Cobb was the highest paid free agent wide receiver this year.
Alden Smith is going to come in and have like freaking 13 sacks or something ridiculous. The Cowboys only paid him 1-year deal, and this is his stepping stone to get back into the NFL. And we won't be able to afford him next year. He'll walk.
Yeah, and then if I'm Dallas, I'm letting him walk at that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the guy's young. They should have locked him into like a 3-year deal.
Yeah, they tried. You're saying he didn't want it.
No, Alden Smith.
Oh,
he
Alden
came.
Smith. Oh,
he just
okay.
came out. He's not even reinstated yet, which is the problem. But you think about it, his first season in San Francisco, he had, 13 sacks? The guy's a beast. You know, if we can get Aldon Smith reinstated, get Randy Gregory reinstated, with Terry Poe, that Gerald McCoy, our freaking
That's right. You guys got
our
McCoy.
line's stacked.
You guys got McCoy. That was a good pickup.
You know, you got D-Law on the other side. You still have Crawford coming back. Our linebacker cores are insane. We just picked up that crazy dude from freaking Utah.
You guys got McCoy, and then you draft
picked up
Diggs' brother, who's good. You still have Lewis and
Reggie Robinson, we got him.
What's that guy's name? Chidobe.
They're talking about putting Cheeto as a safety. And you know what? Another thing, Cheeto came out and he had an interview with, I guess, one of the coaches that work with those guys in the backfield. Chris Richard wouldn't let these guys play different techniques. I think that's the problem. That's what held them back. That's why you don't see the interceptions. They weren't allowed to do the things that they have to do. Because Chris Richard was a hothead.
Dude, he looks just like Dak Prescott. What's up with that?
Yeah, I know.
Bro, I'm still waiting for my Saints to be on Hard Knocks. What is it? This year it's the Rams and the Chargers, right?
I don't know who has it this
Yeah,
year.
it's two teams. I'm almost positive they're doing the Rams and the Chargers, probably because of the new stadium.
I tell you
makes
what,
sense.
their stadium looks sick.
It
I
does.
saw that little teleport thing
Dude,
they had. sitting
I
down
would
there.
not. If I was an owner, why would you want to share a stadium with somebody? What goes into your mind with that? I want my own stadium.
Well, the Jets and Giants do it.
Yeah, but that's stupid. You got to constantly change the field. Then you got I want my own stadium. I don't want to share.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I just think it's more like finances at that point.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, if you look at that contract, the Rams are paying for most of it, and they're struggling right now because that went from a $1 billion stadium to a $7 billion stadium.
you know how many stadiums they have out there sitting empty? The Coliseum sits empty. The Rose Bowl. They could use all these different stadiums out there
I
for
think the
teams.
Coliseum was a sick looking like old school
It
stadium,
was.
Yeah,
It was
it was.
awesome.
especially at night, man.
Yeah, remodel that thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice. And the thing that's weird with the new stadium there is it literally looks like a ram's horn. Like it's literally like a shape of a horn. So like the Chargers, it's kind of like what the heck.
Hey, the NFL, they came out with their power rankings after the draft.
Saints are number 4. If you just wanted to know real quick, Saints are number 4.
Yeah. Let's see. The top teams are Kansas City number 1, the 49ers number 2, Baltimore 3, Saints 4, Tennessee Titans, which is shocking, at number 5.
Wow.
Buffalo is 6, Dallas is number 7, who was previously at 13. Green Bay, which is shocking because of all the drama there with Aaron Rodgers, is number 8. The Colts are number 9, Vikings 10, Pittsburgh 11, which is shocking. I guess they're assuming Ben's coming back healthy. Tampa Bay 12, Seattle 13, Philadelphia 14, and New England rounds out the top 15. I think New England's going to fall.
Yeah, I think that was out of respect to Belichick.
I think you have to.
I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to 50.
I think you have to put Tennessee up there with who they beat in the playoffs. I mean, they earned it.
I'll tell
They
you.
did. Is Ryan Tannehill going to be the same Ryan Tannehill?
That's the biggest question mark for me too. And it's like again, why would you pay him more money than Henry? Like I would have gave Henry, who led the
Don't
league.
have an explanation for that.
Like if you had to pick one to keep, what's easier to replace, a good running back or a quarterback?
Running back.
It's just not a running back league, man. Like you don't
It's
see a lot of deep.
But
Zeke
when's the last
contracts.
time you're gonna find a guy the size of Henry who can run that fast?
Next man up.
Next man up, man. With running backs, they just don't treat them the same, which is unfortunate.
The 80s and the 90s were big with running backs, but now it's a throwing league. They protect the quarterback, and you can't hit people going across the middle.
And you know what's funny is we talk about quarterbacks who don't really throw a lot. It's like Tannehill didn't have to play that much. I mean, Henry ran that team.
Yeah.
And for him to get that money is kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It was definitely overpaid, in my opinion.
But you know what's funny? They have the Giants as one of the bottom 4 teams in the power rankings. And I said this before.
I think they'll be good.
I would not be surprised if the Giants take a big step forward. They're going to have one of the weakest schedules in the league because of where they finished. And they loaded up that offensive line. I mean,
They did, man. They had a good draft class.
The defense is still iffy, but with the whole new coaching staff that's here, that Joe Judge, he's not taking no crap. He really isn't. He's not. He's already laying the law. And you know,
man, they needed a culture change, and I think they're getting it. And they got some help for Saquon up front with that.
They got some
who
good
drafted
help.
That
Good
Andrews guy or whatever.
They got some good
and
help.
they got the Cowboys coaching staff there. They got 3 of the coaches staff there. Garrett and Mark Colombo was there. Colombo turned the offensive line around in Dallas.
I think Daniel Jones is good.
Yeah, I think he's good. I don't know if we've seen enough of him yet to
I'll
see
agree with
what
that. I'll agree
what
with
he
that.
be yet. I think you got to give him another year, but I don't know, man. I think what's this guy, Jason Garrett? It might work actually. Less pressure for him. He just has to
Yeah, just has to run the.
call.
He's running the
Yeah,
offense.
it may work. So it's gonna be an interesting NFC East, man. It's gonna be fun to watch.
I just hope we get to see something because, with all these changes and all these teams making moves, it's going to be really, really fun.
I think we will.
And it's
I
going to
think the
suck.
NFL.
I think Favre's gone.
Favre?
Favre?
Not Favre. I think Rodgers
Rodgers?
is gone.
Not this
I
year.
agree.
Not
No,
this
I
year.
don't know.
No,
I don't
he's
know.
Look,
gone, man.
look.
There's
Listen,
no way
listen to this.
Rodgers
Listen to this.
stays.
Listen to this.
Listen.
He's
Favre
gone.
was just on an interview.
You get, yeah, I
And
heard
he
it.
was
I heard
talk.
it.
He was talking about. He didn't tell exactly what
Yeah, I heard
Rodgers
it.
said, but he has a feeling Rodgers is going to leave. It's going to take one more thing to push him because
Gone.
Rodgers is so dedicated to finishing in Green Bay, but it's like Green Bay doesn't want him for some
Well,
reason.
the head coach doesn't like his passive aggressive way, which is everyone that said this is Rodgers is hard to work with. But you got to give him credit. There's a stat out there. He's
Man.
only thrown one touchdown pass to a first-round receiver in his career, and
Yep,
they don't draft to help him.
I couldn't believe it, and that's the problem with no help. He's been in the league 10 years.
Yeah,
He's got one Super Bowl. They never drafted a position player
nope. And
since he's been there.
And you think about this draft, they trade up to get a quarterback that would have been there in the 4th round.
yeah, don't get me wrong. Rodgers is working, and what Favre said that Rodgers is going to go down the same path that I did. They're going to end up forcing him out, and
Yep.
he's not going to finish his career with the Packers, just like he
He's
didn't
done.
finish it. Montana didn't finish with the 49ers.
Peyton didn't
But-
finish. Brady
he's
didn't
done.
finish. It's a culture change.
But, and this is the key stat. He's got to be there at least 2 more years. His dead cap hit towards the salary cap is
Oh, it's
$43
insane.
million. And if they June 1st cut him, it's $13 million this year towards the cap, and then it's $30 million next year towards the cap.
Yeah,
That's a
but
lot of money.
if
You
they find a
can't
good
have that
trade-
dead
If
cap
they find a
hit.
good trade, though,
It's still it's going to be a cap hit.
I think
you
it's-
can't
but
swallow that.
for some reason, I feel like Rodgers could win them 2 more Super Bowls, and they would still want him gone for some reason. And
With what team?
I don't even. I mean, let's
They're
be
gonna
real. Let's
fall.
let's be real. What team wouldn't take Rodgers?
No, I'm saying with Green Bay, there's no way, and this is not to offend any Packers fans, but with the team, and then if they lose Bulaga?
Yeah, and
There's no
LaFleur
way they're winning a
LaFleur wants to
Super Bowl right
change
now.
the scheme. He wants to be a run first offense.
And they
They
were
better go get Randall Cobb if they even want a chance again. They better go re-sign him or something.
and
man.
then they were one game away from the Super Bowl, and
13-3.
they could have drafted so well to help them get there, and they completely, I
Right.
think, bombed
But
this
the
draft.
problem is who does he have? Devontae Adams.
That's
That
it.
is it. I mean,
That's really it,
if they
yeah.
would have drafted another receiver or a good
didn't
tight
Didn't
end,
they have Funches last year and didn't go well?
they didn't have anything. I
I thought
mean,
Funches was in Carolina.
Yeah, now he is. No,
not-
no,
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 Funches
no.
has been there.
Yeah, Funches. Wait, who did Funches sign with this year?
I think Funches left Carolina. I don't know where he's at now.
Yeah, he-
San Diego or something like that.
Funches, I thought, started with Carolina, and then he went to Green Bay, but I think he signed with somebody.
Funches was drafted by
Oh,
Carolina.
Wait, I think Funches went to Green Bay this year. I think that's where they got the help. He was with the Colts. Yeah, he got drafted by Carolina. He went to the Colts. I think Green Bay picked him up for this offseason. So I mean, that's another receiver.
Yeah, it is, and he's pretty. So he's a good route runner.
I'm looking now to see. Yeah, they have Reggie Begelton. Who the heck's that?
There's just no way. And Rodgers, who knows? He might request a trade before the.
Yeah, Devin Funches is
I'm
now in
thinking
Green
no.
Bay.
I think it's gonna take something to push him one more time, and he's gonna be like, "I want out."
I think this is it.
I think he's
this,
so
this might be it.
focused on having that legacy fulfilled with Green Bay. But when he looks around and he sees that, Manning took a different team. Now Tom Brady took a different team. It's like, why can't I do that too?
Exactly. That's the problem, man. That's the problem. Tom Brady just did it, and for him, it's like, well, they didn't really show me that they wanted to take this team to the next level. One game away from the Super Bowl, and I don't even think they drafted a receiver.
No, and
Like,
they got
what
that
in God's green earth, dude?
they got that Marquez Valdez Scantling. I had
Who?
him. I had him in fantasy for a week.
dude, come on, man. They're just doing this guy dirty.
You know,
man.
I was
think they want him
talking
out.
with a couple Packers fans the other day too, and they just say like every year they do not draft well.
No, they don't. They don't.
They don't draft to
That's
win.
why Mike McCarthy left.
They don't draft to win. They just don't. I don't know what they are doing as far as their scouting goes.
No, Mike
Yeah,
McCarthy had a field day this year. He really did. He got to put his 2 cents in, and he said, let's not draft for scheme. Let's draft for best players available. If we can't put the best players available into our scheme, then our scheme is bad.
It's so weird to see him in Dallas, honestly.
Dude, I tell you what, when CeeDee Lamb got down to Atlanta and they didn't take him, I put on Twitter, I said, here we go, another J.J. Watt episode. I thought they were going to pass on him, and they were going to go and pick up that Chasen kid.
Well, what was it? Ruggs went. Was his name Ruggs went
Ruggs-
first? He was
Ruggs
the
went to
worst.
the
He was the
Raiders.
worst out of all three of them, I think,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
They had CeeDee Lamb, who averages
Nah,
21
Ruggs-
yards after the catch.
Yeah, no, Ruggs is good, man. He's
No.
top
I'm
five
not
projected.
saying he's bad. I'm just saying, I think Judy and Lamb are better.
Ruggs is
Oh, yeah,
fast. Ruggs is fast. But CeeDee Lamb has the quickest 10 yards. He's like a Ferrari. He's 0 to 60. And that's the big thing, man. You don't need that long end game. All you need is that quick burst.
Screw you and your Cowboys.
Hey, I love it. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Can't wait. We're gonna be on this podcast the day after that Sunday.
Oh man, let's do it, man.
We'll
Let's
be
do it. It's good to be on with you guys, man. I missed you guys a lot, dude.
We'll be like,
fun,
hey,
man.
Mike, this podcast is brought to you by your favorite brand of tissue.
I'm not coming on and call button.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you coming on. Hopefully this sounds good. We'll have to check it out when we edit it, but new soundboard, new toy to play with, and hopefully you have some new topics coming up because we need some more sports to talk about.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure. Anytime you guys want to chit chat and talk about sports, I'm available, man. Just hit me up, and hope to talk to you guys shortly again.
Yeah, we hope you and your family stay safe too, Mike.
You too, man. God bless you and your family, guys.
God bless,
you,
Mike.
Take care.
Later.
Thanks.
Hung up a little early, but we hope you guys enjoyed this. We're using we got new we got a new mixer today, so it took us a little frustration to figure it out, but we were supposed to have an interview today too, but we didn't get on the same page, so hopefully next time. But my dad's actually leaving on a trip a little bit.
Shh, not allowed to talk about that.
All right, well, we won't talk about when or where he's leaving, so we'll see you guys Tuesday on the next podcast. But we hope you guys enjoy this podcast. It'll be up on all our platforms. Instagram, you can follow us. All of it. We say it all the time.
Let's see what this button does. Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with this mixer.
And that's where we end it. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We'll see you next time.
Later.